since Diana's not here, I suppose I'm the one to call the meeting to order.
And we have to appoint Sharon's usually the serving government member.
So then I will call the Town of Rome Plan Commission meeting to order at 4:01 p.m. And then, first, before we continue, we would need to pick a chair then, and it's longest serving.
I have 12 years this April. And Jerry, how many you got?
I don't know. You guys will have it. I'll make a motion we appoint Lori as temporary chair.
I'll second it.
I'm going to call for the vote, Roxanne.
Alright, so all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Perfect, so the motion will carry.
So, roll call starting on the left, please.
Weisberger.
I'll continue earlier.
Out of here. You didn't want it anyway, Jerry, so we might as well just start off on the
I'm
right.
getting ready to. I've been on the right for a couple of days.
I always do the left.
I started on the
Things interesting.
I'll bring up the tail end.
All right.
Yeah, Diana's on vacation and Paul got stuck in Arizona.
Alrighty. That'll be like I believe his fourth meeting, so we'll have to have a discussion regarding that. So, Diana was excused due to being out of town. Certify the posting of the meeting, please.
Alright, I certify that on Tuesday, March 4th, 2025, the agenda for the Town of Rome Plan Commission meeting for Tuesday, March 11th, 2025 was posted at the following locations: Rome Town Hall, 2:53 p.m., Quick Trip LLC, 3:09 p.m., Inclusive for Edward State Bank, 3:01 p.m., posted on the Town of Rome website on 3/4/2025, and legal notice published in the Wisconsin Rapids Tribune on 2/25/2025 and 3/04/2025.
Right, and I just want to bring it to your attention. I don't believe it affects the meeting in any way, but because you did post the right date for the public hearing, but at the bottom of that notice, you said dated the 20th of February, 2024. At the bottom of your public hearing notice that you posted, it shows dated this day, 20th of February, 24. So I don't know that it affects our meeting in any way, but you should probably make a note of that it's
That's how I believe Nick told me to do it, because that's the date that it gets drafted, and then it gets sent to the Tribune on that date.
But it's 2025, and you put it out there on.
I see.
Yeah, we don't. It's no longer here. So, but just bringing it to your attention, I don't know if that needs to be corrected for any records or anything like that, but just please be aware of it. Thank you. Okay. Approve the agenda, please.
Motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Wiesinger, second by Commissioner Dalton to approve the agenda as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Citizen comments. I believe you did get an orange card.
Yes, I did. I don't know if you want to step up to
Well,
speak.
can you give us his name and what he wants to speak on, please?
So it's Jacob Croning, and then I don't really have any information other than it says sheds and zoning.
Sheds and zoning. Okay, Jacob, if you could please come up. And I'm going to read this statement really quickly then, since you're here. Citizen comments. During the citizen comment period of the agenda, the Plan Commission welcomes comment from any town resident, not a member of the Plan Commission, on any item not on the agenda. Please know that pursuant to state law, the Commission cannot engage in conversation with you, but may ask questions. The Commission may refer the item to staff, a standing committee, or a future Commission agenda for discussion and action. Each person wishing to speak will have up to 3 minutes to speak. Speakers are asked to submit a card to the Commission chair, providing their name, address, and topic for discussion. The Commission will also take comment from the public on agenda items as called by the chair, but not during citizen comment. Please note that once the Commission begins discussion on an agenda item, no further comment will be allowed from the public on that issue. So, Jacob, go ahead.
Okay, so this is about a 1.5-year-old issue. I had some health issues this summer, so I wasn't able to pursue this. Now this spring I would like to move forward with my projects. Long story short, we've gone through a few zoning administrators and some temporary services and whatnot. The neighbor has a 12 by 18 shed, which does not meet the requirements for a shed. Back when Emily was here, she told me I could switch my shed permit to an accessory structure permit and do the same thing. I've been told that they will not honor what the previous zoning administrator said, but they are honoring what the previous zoning administrator did in regards to letting the neighbor have a 12 by 18 shed, which is a shed on cinder blocks. It is not an accessory structure. It is not the same siding as it. It is nothing of the sort. I filed a written complaint. The gentleman who was serving from MSA during when Taylor was temporarily the zoning administrator said a letter was drafted notifying them of non-compliance and that they have to be removed. Apparently that never got mailed out. My issue is I want to build a similar size structure, but I don't want to have a permanent structure if they don't have to have a permanent structure. I think that's fair. So, right in the Rome's Code 360-23, says bond written complaint by a citizen or official, the zoning administrator should determine if the complaint is valid. We already know from MSA that it's valid. They were going to notify them it wasn't. And then there's two options. Make the code make the property compliant, or the property has to be removed. I've written a few emails. The last one didn't even get a response. So I was told to come back to you guys. I already been in front of you once for this. You referred me back to the zoning administrator, Taylor, and I don't remember the gentleman's name from MSA. Handled it, but then I never got followed through on, and then I tore my Achilles, and then I had to have heart surgery, so I had to put this on pause, but I would like to move forward with my project this summer. So I don't want to have a permanent structure and pay taxes on that if I can have a shed. Now, I would like to note I'm for changing the code on accessory structures versus making them remove their shed, simply based on, I feel like if you have a permanent structure and a primary residence, that the 150 square foot could maybe be modified if you have enough land and you're under your 20% restriction. I understand why on camper lots, and maybe that could stay at 150. Dustin Grant from Adams County says it is not Adams County's stance that 150 should be a requirement. He said that is a Rome-only issue. He said Adams County does not, the DNR in Adams County does not care if we go over 150 per square foot. So
he reaches 3 minutes. Okay, you reached your 3 minutes. Just a couple of things I'll address, and then we won't get into. We can ask you questions, but how are you aware that it was never, the letter was never sent out?
The email I received from, I'm assuming that's Alexis, said that they decided not to, and that she talked to the town attorney, and they just said, yeah.
All right. Another question for you would be, is you're in the Lake District, and
Yep.
Adams County handles shoreland. They have nothing to say over town zoning. You understand that?
Correct. But
So we make our determination on our land here except for the shoreland. So if it's an illegal structure and you file a complaint, the zoning administrator can follow through on that complaint for you. So did you file a complaint with anybody else?
I filled out a written complaint about 11 months ago, 9 months ago, here in person with Taylor.
Okay. Did you look in the property file? We'll have to follow through on this, but I think it would be appropriate for you to look in the property file for his letter of complaint, follow through on the complaint, because sheds and accessory structures are not allowed within the shoreland.
They're past the 7-foot setback. They just don't meet the requirement for a shed, and they don't meet the requirement for an accessory structure. And I would imagine if the building permit was pulled, it'll note that the building inspector never signed off on it. There was never a follow-through inspection.
And you know all of this how?
Well, the building inspector didn't do his job, because it states the building inspector for accessory structure permits has to approve the plans and do a finish inspection upon completion of the project. And he would have arrived there and said, this is not an accessory structure, this is a shed. So someone has seriously failed at their job somewhere along the line.
I don't know if I want to go to that point, but I think, there was a ball drop somewhere along the line, and I think it would be appropriate between your illness and the time this has gone on that we have the zoning administrator take a look at it, pull the property file, and I think it would be good for you to go through the steps, see what's been done so far, and follow through on the property that's there, that's in violation, and report back to this committee. Did you wanna add anything as to what your involvement's been so far?
So I had briefly talked to our past attorney on this property, and one of the main issues is that there was both a zoning permit and a building permit both pulled and issued.
For
So
whom? This gentleman or the other
For the other
property that he's
gentleman.
complaining
for
about?
the other
Okay.
property, which makes it a lot more complicated, because if it's just a zoning permit, we could easily just be like, oh, this is. And then the other issue is both the people who issued the permits are no longer here. Because the building permit got issued by Dan Hansen, and then the zoning permit got issued by Emily.
Did he give a final okay on the building permit?
I'll have
Because he was paid for it, so he should give a
Yeah,
final
I
okay or a
can-
nay.
I can pull the permit and see. I don't think I have it digitally right now, so I'd have to go to the property file. But that makes the issue of removing it more complicated.
Correct.
Because I'm pretty sure we'd have to go through a raise with that because it's a building permit. However, the building itself wouldn't really qualify for a rare. Like, I believe if the person who has on the property were to try to appeal it, they would win the appeal because technically the building is still safe, and it's just that it was an incorrect permit issued.
And it was issued under the former building administrator and the former zoning administrator, which were both incorrect steps. Well, not the zoning permit, but we'll have her follow through on this with you.
Can I say
Make an
something?
appointment, yes.
I mean, I think the assumption that they would win on appeal is vague because the step one of what was supposed to be done per 362.3 never happened yet. And MSA already found it to be in violation, so I'm not guessing here if it's in violation. It's in violation. It is a shed. I remember back when Gary used to be the zone administrator. Accessory structure.
That's
I know.
history, you gotta move forward, and we
Yep,
have
but
a skilled
that's a
zoning
presumption that it
administrator
was
now, and we have a
and
skilled building
It was an
inspector.
erroneous issued permit.
Right.
And
So we'll resolve the issue moving forward, so if you can make an appointment with Lexi, and we'll expect a report back.
I did email a month ago and did not get a response for the record. And I shared this exact information that I'm sharing with you, and my email was ignored, so this is why I'm.
Well, we don't know that it was ignored, there might have been
Well, I did not
something
get a
else.
response.
There's a lot going on right now, so. Okay, so you understand what you need to do going forward. Do you have any questions for him before he leaves?
Nope, I would like to make the statement as a raise order doesn't go through us. If someone appeals it, it goes through the circuit court, so it wouldn't be it wouldn't go through our Board of
I think
Appeals.
before we get into all those types of details, Lexi, and we go down a path that might be incorrect, forget what happened in the past, move forward, get the information we need on what's currently standing, contact the new town attorney, and move forward with what steps can be taken, and the answers we can give him before any type of zoning would be changed. And as far as the county goes, they have no, other than if it was in shoreland, so I think we have our steps that we can follow to help resolve
Can I
this.
clarify on the Adams County part? Yeah,
No.
the reason okay.
No, because Dustin tells people a lot of things up here, and we just, no. Go ahead.
The reason I mentioned that is I was told from a previous zone administrator that Adams County would never allow sheds of 150 square feet, so I questioned Dustin Grant, and he made the comment that that has always been a Rome issue. We would not have an issue if Rome decided to allow sheds up to 200 or 300
Oh, in that respect,
or
okay,
lower
thank you for the
minimum square
clarification.
footage for accessory structure. That would be my other, it says a minimum width of 24 feet, which I'm assuming is a width by width, but it doesn't list a minimum square footage for accessory structures. So they're making you jump from 150 from a shed to like 520 feet for an accessory structure. I just want a 300 square foot building if I can build it. I don't feel like you should have to jump from 150 to 550. And then obviously I don't feel the neighbors should have a 230 square foot.
Depends on your lot size, and so you're getting into areas that we just can't determine at this
Yep.
meeting, and you can have that discussion with
I
her.
meet all of the requirements.
And I can assure you, the county is moving forward. We budgeted for a zoning rewrite this year. Hopefully, they move forward with that, and they do that. And there's a number of issues that'll be considered at that time. But so that can be something else that you can express those concerns, and she can make a note of those and bring those forward to those people.
Sounds good, thank you.
All right, thank you. Do you have everything you need done, and then you can report back as to what? Okay, thank you. All right, no action contemplated except possible referral to future agenda. Information updates, meeting recaps, recent correspondence, current events, and announcements. Starting on my right, I'll make it easy.
Nothing.
All right, I have one. We had a nice open house and stakeholder focus group session with Patrick Bruner of Cardo Urban and Town Planning, which was a gift from, as you know, Sand Valley. Michael, their proprietor, and Baker Thompson, who's on our RTC subcommittee, made up of members of this group and the CDA. We'll be having another open house for the master plan on April 10th, which is a Thursday, from 5 to 7 p.m. at Up North Brewing Company. We'll have some storyboards there available for people to look at. Light snacks will be provided, and all ages are welcome. So, just wanted to bring that up. And then also, let's see. I think that's it. Anyway, go ahead. Do you have anything? I do not.
Nothing.
Okay. All right, subcommittee. Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Quick. I have recently developed a web map for all campers. So if you go to the Town of Rome page, rome.wi.gov, under the Zoning and Building Department, if you scroll all the way to the bottom, there's now a thing called, I think it's active camper sites or titled something like that. It's the very bottom link. If you click it, it updates you with what lots have campers, tells you what their camper number is, and I'm updating that as I get permits coming in.
That's good, and that's actually a follow-up to something we talked about last year, that's why they no longer need a paper copy of their permit sitting on their property, that this can be tracked this way once their permits are filed, once they apply for one and they get it for the season. So this is a new way of tracking and keeping that information.
And it's live, so anytime that I get one, I approve it, I instantly go put it in there, and it instantly will populate that map, so.
Excellent. Okay, great. Anybody have any questions for Lexi on that? Okay, thank you. All right, number 7, subcommittee, Plan Commission RTC subcommittee update.
So the RTC subcommittee met twice since the last Plan Commission meeting on February 19th. Master Planner Patrick Bruner from Cardo had visited the Town of Rome. During his visit, he was able to gather public feedback and meet with key stakeholders, including business owners and other interested parties within the Rome Town Center. Additionally, an open house was held to solicit community input on potential amenities, favored locations within the RTC, and other development priorities.
Okay. Did you want to add? Oh, there was a subcommittee meeting on February 21st to review the collected feedback and outline the next steps. We met again on Friday, March 7th, and there was some information that was in the CDA packet, but that meeting got canceled. So there was a number of people that weren't available, unfortunately, but so there's some information that we can include in the next packet to keep this committee updated as to the steps that have been taken as well. So, thank you, Lexi. All right, number 8, short-term rental staff report.
All right. So for the month of February, the zoning administrator received 6 short-term rental zoning permits. Letters were sent to property owners and surrounding parcels for 5 of the rentals. As of this report, 4 of the rentals have received approval. So one of the rentals is still pending based on the 2-week common time period I set, and the other rental is pending inspection before I send out letters.
Great, thank you. All right, so now we'll open the public hearing. Consideration and a preliminary plat for Lakeside Haven to be located on a 11.663 acre parcel owned by Roosh Land Development, LLC, described as follows: all of Outlot 2 of CSM 6703 and all of Lot 3 of CSM 6760, part of Government Lot 7, and Section 02, Town 20 North, Range 5 East, Town of Rome, Adams County, with a parcel number of 030-00047-0100.
So applicant Roosh Land Development LLC had submitted a preliminary plat for Lakeside Haven. The proposed subdivision is located in Lot 2 of CSM 6703 and Lot 3 of CSM 6760. 10 lots are proposed for the 10.663 acre parcel, including the outlots, with lot sizes ranging from 1.112 acres to 1.499 acres. No roads would be required for the subdivision, as all parcels being created would have appropriate road frontages. Staff reviewed the initial preliminary plat submission based on the standards found in Town Code Chapter 32614, subdivision procedures, and the letters were sent to 7 property owners within 200 feet of the affected property.
Okay, so we have a summary from the zoning administrator, if you'd like to come up and give us any additional information on that proposal, and then we can proceed with some questions.
Well, I guess, yeah, so there's technically 10 lots there. What we're looking to do, if I can talk, so what we're looking to do is build basically single-family homes on each lot, and then when we sell the houses on the 5 lots, the lot that is across the road would go with it. So we would sell, so each homeowner that would buy a house would get the lot that's in front of it. I'm not sure if Badgerland, because of the road that's there, if it had to be a separate parcel. I don't know, because you can't, it's not like you can own the road or whatever, so I'm not sure if that's why that was divided that way or whatever, but we're looking to build basically high-end homes that we would turn around and then sell on each of the 5 lots. So originally when I was working with Lexi, we did have, I was thinking about trying to do it with 6 lots, and then it just didn't seem to fit the nicest. So we ended up going down to 5 lots, get a little bit more property, so we have a little more space for septic systems and things like that that need to go in. When we did buy the property from a Kevin Cole, so where the proposed property is, I'm sure you're familiar with over, it's all that high ground. Mm-hmm. So I believe when they redid Devil's Elbow, that's where a lot of the fill and stuff went. He did have it, I know when we purchased it, it was perked out, so I know like conventional septic systems and stuff like that would work there. We wouldn't have to deal with mounds and stuff, from my knowledge, with when we bought it from Kevin. So, basically what we're looking to do is just build some nice high-end homes that we would sell to, I guess, whoever would buy them. So,
Lots would automatically go with them.
yeah. So basically, if you bought, the first lot to the north, then you would get the adjacent, right across the highway. We would sell it as together. So there's technically 10 lots, but there'd be 5 sales because they would purchase what's in front of it. So they would just, because there's no. The idea of me owning the water does nothing for me. So we would, each person would then own a piece of the water, whatever they would do with it. There is access. Kevin did, I don't know, he must have worked with Adams or the street, but they did put if you drive over there, the barricade that goes around that corner, there's an opening that he was able to get installed there when they did that. So there is access actually to the water there, so I would imagine if people wanted to put a dock in that they take in and out or whatever, there is access there. There is an opening on the rails there that gives you access over there. There's just one section that he was able to get approved for an opening. So, if somebody wanted to put a dock or something, I would think they could get it permitted some way, shape, or form. So,
I would think once you own the property, the lake property, I think you get a pier or have a dock put in pretty easily.
Yeah, for sure.
You own the ground underneath.
And we wouldn't, we're not looking to do anything with the water, none of that. It's just, we just want to build a house, put it up for sale with the adjacent lot across the road, so they would all be like parallel with each other. So if you bought the lot, it comes with the 1 acre in front of it that's just water property, basically.
I have a couple questions. You've got CSM numbers on here that are different than on this map. And then the outlots you're showing us is underwater. So I'm confused by just a few of these things. If you could clarify, the CSM says outlot 2, described as outlot 2 of CSM 6703, and we didn't have a larger map to work with. We had this.
Where did the larger map come from? I guess is that.
It was laying here when I came in today, and I just thought.
That's the original one from Kevin.
Okay.
So any information in regards to like numbers or like that, I'd have to get clarification from Kevin Whipple. He's the one that does all the surveying.
How can we, preliminary plat for an outlot that's over here, that's that outlot, and then over here is 6760, which is over here. So those aren't even the numbers here that we're to be working with, correct? Because if you look in what we're having a public hearing on, described as all of outlot 2 of CSM 6703 Lexi. And then you have all of lot 3 of CSM 6760. That's all to the north.
Those CSMs are old ones when Kevin had this surveyed originally. Now they've resurveyed it and created new CSMs.
Yes, because initially, if you go to the Adams County map right now, the one that's in the water is outlot 2, and that is the 6703. And if you go to the one that's on land, that is lot 3 of 676.
Okay,
It's shown on this map. It's shown on the map, right?
So maybe that map is just old.
You must have better glasses than me. Thank you. That's why I was asking the question.
That's the difference.
Yeah, because now we're trying to make 5 outlots, because that's the reason why it's an outlot is because it's on the water. It can't be a normal lot, it's just water. So that's now becoming from outlot. I'm guessing would be when it goes through ECSM, we'll have like a bunch of numbers like 10, 15, whatever, and then the outlot number will just go along with that.
When we bought that to, and maybe this is common, but is that normal to buy water? To me, I didn't think you could buy water. Like I just felt that when we bought that property, it was kind of strange that you pretty much are buying this bay of water that, I don't know, it was just odd when we bought it. But yeah, so when we sell the land, we're just selling the water with it. I can't imagine it's taxed very high, water, you can't build on water, so, but yeah.
It's giving you prime water frontage is what it's doing. Then they can put a pier in there. That's why it's like that. So we had a piece of property that the town owned like that too, so.
There wouldn't be like any, if somebody drives a boat in there, though hypothetically, it's not like you're going to have like a stake out in the water. People technically would be kind of driving through your property, I guess in a theory, but yeah, so ultimately all we're looking to do is subdivide it into, technically it'll be 5 lots, whoever buys this one also gets the water that comes with it. And then we're looking to just build single family homes on it.
I have some questions regarding the subdivision land plat, but I should let, does anybody else have any other questions first? Bill, if you have...
No, I figured it out. I figured out what I saw. I know where I am now.
Okay. Anybody else?
I'm good right now.
All right.
Anything for you?
No.
I have
Let
a
me
question.
comment that there are several parcels around Petenwell that you own the water, own the land under the water, but you don't own the water.
Okay.
Right.
That's not the first one, because there were a lot of those plotted out before they dammed it up. They dammed up, the water came in, and you still own the property underneath it.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's confusing, isn't it?
I had a question regarding, I went through the subdivision ordinance, Lexi, and I had a number of questions regarding some of that. You referred to 326-14, but there were some other questions I had under some of the other sections. Under 8, it said land suitability. There are some easements noted on here from my understanding. What exactly are those easements?
I would say that'd be with.
So I'm assuming there's 2 driveway access points off of that corner. Sorry. There's 2. If you were to drive down that road going north, like you're heading towards Romano's, as you're going through that corner, there's a driveway access. There's one in the beginning, and then there's one at the end. So as we build these houses, there'll be probably so I'm assuming the easement that you're talking about is the driveways that come into the property.
So you're going to call those driveways? Are the properties going to share a driveway?
So there'll be a shared easement or something eventually that'll have to get put in there. Yep.
It'd be like a frontage road.
So then, did you address that when you looked at the preliminary plat with what's required?
Looking at the preliminary plat, it does still have proper road frontages. It just seems like that would just be easier access for people buying the houses to get in and out.
understand, but there are some things then that come under the town's responsibility with a preliminary plat and having the ingress, egress easement. Did you review everything regarding that? Because it says easements are prohibited as a mean of providing access to public streets for new parcels.
That would be for frontage. This isn't frontage. They still have enough frontage on that county highway.
Well, it doesn't say frontage, so I want to be clear though, I want to understand the access.
That's typically what it refers
But
to.
you're gonna allow them to have a driveway.
It would be separate. So like what that one's been referring to, remember how a couple months ago I did the report for the Eagles Nest? It would be not allowing a driveway easement, or easement that way. These ones still have appropriate frontages on the road to be parcels themselves. Like, basically the whole reason why we're kind of sitting here right now is because there's 5 of them. If this was 3, if you split it into 3 parcels.
It's a subdivision, so that's why it's gotta be looked at a little differently, okay?
Well, yes, but that's like, but they still individually have enough frontage on the road. If
Right.
he's just choosing to put driveways in, it's just a design, seems just like a development choice versus an actual need, because they can all have driveways in on themselves.
Okay. So my other question is with this being a subdivision, if you go to 32611, being developed as a subdivision, it says, and now that you have this easement in here and there's wetlands conservancy there, reservation and dedication of land, public sites and open spaces. Did you allow a calculation for what there would be paid for an impact fee for the parks?
I have that.
Okay. So as part of the preliminary plat, you do want to take a look at 32611, reservation and dedication of the land. The subdivider shall dedicate sufficient suitable land area to provide adequate playground, recreation, or open space to meet the needs created for, or created by, or to be provided to the subdivision. Because he's named this subdivision, that's how it's being treated. Then I had a couple of questions. Did anybody have any questions on those? On that? Right. Can you find where I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. That needs to be calculated out, especially if they're going to have an ingress, with these driveways now. Right. The date is on here, but I noticed the right down here on the scale, according to the preliminary checklist, it's supposed to be, let me see where I found that here. It was only supposed to be, I think it's supposed to be, there's a measurement. It shows here scale 1 to 50. I believe it's supposed to be 1 to 100. So you might want to look into that as well. But then I had a question for you on the actual zoning. You put in your report that this is zone B1, but it's for residential mixed use. Can you elaborate on that a little bit? Because there is also under the preliminary subdivision procedure for site plan that we should have a map showing the surrounding areas if they're owned by the same person.
Yeah, so this is zone B1. Obviously, the main use is going to be residential. So that is technically kind of a mixed use, but it would be allowed under B1 because you can put a house on a property zone B1. As for the other question of talking about other parcels owned by Shane?
Yeah. Do you have other property near there, that house, or?
Yeah, I think it's just those two.
No, I think, we just own that I don't own any other.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, so you don't own any contingent property to that?
No.
All right,
It was, Kevin did offer, I was able to buy the property to the north of it, but I believe Kevin has now, so I think he sold the land to the north and that house, and I know he put in like a little campground back there. I'm sure you guys probably have over the last few years, but I think he sold all that, but I don't own any of that, no.
Yeah, because he sold it to different people, because he sold the fish camp to someone named Andrea, I believe, and then she owns a couple of the other parcels around it.
so then another question would be, is a stormwater management plan in conformance with the town and the county? With for a subdivision and a preliminary plat with the Wetlands Conservancy back there? I know there was a question that came up before with the previous owner, but do we need to have that with the county, and will you be bringing that forward at a different time?
I feel that would be with the county. You would want to have it, especially with housing going in there that by the water. I can bring it back if you want me to. However, I don't know if that would be, since it'd be something dealt with at the county, if that would be something you'd want me to just maintain tabs on with Dustin separately. Because it has to go to the county anyways for Dustin's review and approval.
I know we were pretty adamant about it with a campground, so if we're putting 5 houses in here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there's wetlands back there, conservancy, how does that fit in with our comprehensive plan and development? Even though it's zone B1. And I'm just going through the checklist, and I just happen to know it because we've gone through this before with other preliminary plats that we had to be very, very cautious and thorough on. So, and it's not to hold you up in any way, shape, or form, but it's making sure all the boxes are checked and nobody comes along and then says we didn't do this, 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 and this.
And I'm just like with the wetland, that must be because we will be building on everything that's already been filled in. So I'm assuming when they put the road and stuff in, whatever they filled in there for wetlands, that's all already been permitted or whatever. We're building on everything that's been brought in. So anything that's at the bottom of the hill, like none of that will be touched on us. We're building on what's already been filled in by the county or whoever did the road.
No, this is against the hill now.
So there's water between.
Right.
Okay.
So then the fact that was previously approved at the campground and the county put something there, Lexi, we wouldn't have to be concerned with that for this development because it's a different development before it was a campground?
That would be my assumption, but I can, like I said, double check with Dustin to see what the county's opinion is on it. I can't always say what they are and aren't thinking, unfortunately. But I do think with housing developments, because each one of those houses would still have to go through the county and get separate permitting when they are getting built for that shoreline anyways, and they'll have to have different, basically the process for a new house does also ask for erosion control and all that type of information, so I feel like it would be different enough than a campground when it goes through permitting.
Okay. I don't want to steal everybody's thunder. Does anybody else have any? I can't be the only one that went through the checklist and had questions, or am I? So then that would also include then the location and results of soil elevation tests. Those would be accepted based on what the previous owner had done?
It would either, like I said, we could, it's up to you. If you want it to be brought back, it could get brought back with those things. Otherwise, these are things that do get checked when a new house is getting put up.
Well, I just recall in a preliminary plat map for two other developments, we had the soil elevation reports given to us at the time that we were asked to approve the preliminary plat. So we knew what the impact was. So that's why I'm asking the question. I just want to make sure we're taking the steps and not missing something, that's all.
Mm-hmm.
So,
You're referring to the soil for the septic system is what you're referring to, right?
in here it says, it says location and results of soil elevation tests within the exterior boundaries of the plat conducted in accordance with SPS of the 385 of the administrative code for the state,
Yeah.
So,
just for the, for getting a permit, you gotta have your soil permit. If I can't get a permit from a soil side, they won't give me a building permit, you know what I mean?
I understand all that, but see, this is part of us actually approving a preliminary plat, is knowing that you would be able to get that, because if you can't get that, would you be able to put a subdivision there? So before it was just gonna be a campground, so that's the reason why I'm bringing up these questions,
And I just wanted to clarify, does the property, so trying to think if I own up to the hill there? Because you have that big hill, then there's a pond, and then it gets built up about 10 feet. So, where everything is built up is where we would build the property, the pond, and if I own up to that hill or whatever, if that is old wetlands or something, but I just clarified, I guess, what you're saying.
Nobody has any other questions for a preliminary plat?
I feel that whatever was done for the campground is really null and void. This is a completely different project coming before us. Typically, before the town approves anything, we need a stormwater management plan in the wetland area approved by Adams County first. Because the town cannot issue any permits until Adams County issues you a stormwater management plan, and they're the only ones that approve that, not the town of Rome. For us to keep looking backwards on other people's projects when new projects are being put before us, I think they got to start from square one. We need the right documentation from the beginning. And I don't want to put you on the spot or anything, but we just went through it, and you were totally courteous. You met all the criteria. I'm not knocking you or anything, believe me. But, the same thing just happened with the self-storage units. I guess I almost felt like that should have been brought back to us not as somebody that bought it from somebody else that was approved for what he wanted to do. You're basically just buying a vacant piece of land now, and you have to go through the steps to get your project approved. The old project should just be shot out the window. Now, I do believe that what he's proposing, because it will probably all fit in the boxes in the end, but as you know, doing anything takes a lot of steps, and you've built all over the place. But for us to, I just want to watch my words before they come out of my mouth. For us to approve a subdivision, I think we need some documentation from Adams County, the stormwater management plan, because they're going to look at all the roofs, all the protected driveways, and they're actually going to say if this is going to work or not. And that's something out of this committee or the town board's hands. All stormwater management comes out of Adams County, just like septic permits do. I'm not opposed to the project by any means or anything. I'm not implying that. I understand where temporary chair money is coming from. We got to make sure that we get the boxes checked.
Because you're coming, not to interrupt, with what you're going back to with impervious surfaces, if you've got 2 driveways here that you're still planning to have for driveways, will those always, and it's in the preliminary site plan for subdivision procedure, are you always going to maintain those? Are your homeowners going to agree to maintain those between the 2 of them? Then also, what is that agreement supposed to be, or will it be? And then also, that's impervious surface there, so we don't know what the county they might come in and say, and we've approved you for 5 lots, and then we're going against each other, where...
Yeah, I guess I am, with the CFM, I guess...
the CSM, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah, whether it's...
And that was my confusion. I didn't understand why it was listed that way, and I'm looking at 2 different numbers over here for these 5 lots.
I guess I'm, whether it's 5 lots or 20 lots or 1 lot, I can't do anything with it for building on it until I get all the proper, until like a stormwater plan. That's $4,500, $5,000 to get that. There's a lot of those things, you spend $10,000 to get these permits and still not know if it will get divided or not. I guess it does, whether it's 5 lots or 1 lot, it doesn't change the fact that I can't build a house, I can't do anything with it until I get the proper permits. So you know, whether it's split up or not, I'm still in the same boat. I can't, you know, it's just 5 lots instead of 1 lot.
Well, but you're applying for a subdivision plat that has, if we approved it to go forward and you continue moving forward, 5 houses, you're asking for 5 lots.
Yeah, but, yeah, I would still need stormwater management, all those things.
Then you'd have to come back and change your plat map.
Not if there's if we approve him for 5 lots, he is going to be working with Adams County on 5 lots. He's gonna, when he sells his first lot, he's then gonna go, because we're basically giving him, he doesn't have to do all 5 at the same time once we make it into, he has to go after each one individually to Adams County, and he doesn't really know if Adams County is going to pull the rug out from underneath him somewhere along the process either. I don't know the best way to approach this.
Well, like that way, just put conditions on the approval for meeting the stormwater, Adams County stormwater regulations, and anything else that we are concerned about. Add those as conditions on the approval. And he can,
That's definitely doable if we think of anything. I just don't want us to miss it. Yeah, if we did like the sanitary through the county and that, as long as we don't do something that we miss with a preliminary plat, and you know we don't get them very often, but when we do, we have to be very, very thorough, and we don't have an attorney with us this time to help us through this process, so, but bottom line is, I mean, yeah, you can do that through put it on the findings of fact, and
right.
But there's this, right here you go through the checklist, and there's some things on here that may not be on here, so, but I'm not gonna get that picky then, so.
But at least if we approve the subdivision, he can go forward with the idea, but he's still gotta get all the permits necessary to build on there. So he can't finalize anything until but at least he knows that we're gonna approve the subdivision.
Do we have the actual block numbers? You brought that question up, Bill. I mean, proposed lot and block numbers. What are the?
Parcel numbers, that would get,
The block numbers?
there's not several blocks, it's only 5 lots.
No, I mean proposed lot numbers.
Well, that's parcel numbers, which Tony will sign once this is registered.
I had them on preliminary plats before. Okay, all right. Okay.
So when these get split, what it'll look like is on my end, when I do like the report, you know how I said it's like CSM whatever, instead it just be like lot 1 of CSM, lot 2 of CSM, and that's what it's gonna look like. So the lot numbers are likely just gonna be 1 through 5. And then it'd just be outlot 1 through 5.
Alrighty. Well, is there anybody here to speak against or for? Doesn't look like it, so we can move on from that question. Without hearing any, then I'll ask for a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
So we have a motion by Commissioner Gabriel, second by Commissioner Wiesinger to close the public hearing. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right. Discussion and possible action. Approval of the February 11th, 2025 meeting minutes. I had a question on one of them and then a comment on another. Under item 11, discussion on subcommittees work with different elements. I think you might just want to check what you meant by that. I'm not sure what we meant by that. Discussion and subcommittees work with different elements. Maybe we can just get a clarification on that, or you can clean that up.
Just clean that up. I don't even know what I really meant.
I think it was the discussion that what work went with the different elements of the comp plan. Like we had discussed in our email that we were interested in what different elements they may have touched on that could help us with the work in the future.
Yep.
All right. Item number 12. under discussion on the different regulation processes and the time it took for municipalities to create those regulations. But we don't want to lose sight of that. I believe if you want to just we'll put that on next agenda items. But underneath there, you put item was tabled until the April Plan Commission meeting. Did we table it or did we postpone it? Because when you table something, you're putting it on hold indefinitely, which means somebody has to request it to come back. And I know we wanted to talk about it in April, so if we did, just somebody with parliamentary procedure needs to remember that for the future, okay, Lex? That you don't put things on a table on, because then you have to have a provision then to bring them back, which is what postponing is. That delays it to a future meeting. So I don't know what we did there, but I know.
We postponed it. We did not.
Yeah, that's what so that needs to come back in April because that's timely, okay?
Table takes a specific motion.
Yeah. Yeah, and then it's gone forever until somebody specifically brings it back from the table. Right, is somebody willing to, I'll move that we, approve or did we have a motion? We had a motion in a second. Would you be willing to amend your motion and second with those corrections?
You didn't make a
Yeah, there hasn't been a motion
No,
yet.
there was none.
Oh, that was for the.
You just
Oh, thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve with the suggested changes.
I'll second it. All right. We have a motion by Commissioner Gabriel. There we go. This is a night. Should be over sooner rather than later. Capital, second by Commissioner Dalton to approve the meeting minutes with corrections. Any more discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. 11, discussion and possible recommendation to the town board. Consideration of a preliminary plat for Lakeside Haven to be located on an 11.663 acre parcel owned by Rouge Land Development LLC, described as follows. All of Outlot 2 of CSM 6703 and all of Lot 3 of CSM 6760, part of Government Lot 7 of Section 02, Town 20 North, Range 5 East, Town of Rome, Adams County, Wisconsin, with a parcel number of 030-00047-010.
We have a list of the conditions that we want to put on the approval.
Can we ask any other questions? Do you need
Oh, yes.
Do you need a motion? Do you need a motion in a second before I can ask a question?
But we can have discussion
Okay.
first.
I see the 2 easements for driveways coming in.
Yep.
But I see nothing else providing us an easement, especially when you get to this lot number 3. I think somewhere there's got to be, tell us where that driveway is going to come to the lots. I mean, I totally get it on, lot 2, it's right in front of it. But I don't see any road going to the middle lots. I see an easement here. I know there's going to be a frontage road.
There's one behind here.
What is the purpose of the easements, those driveways? What is the purpose of those?
There's already 2 driveways that are permitted, and then, so we were gonna have the driveways already permitted to come in.
It's access to the 5 lots are going to come in from either end.
And
And go across the front.
you're going across the backside, aren't you?
So the plan, we were planning, because we don't want to necessarily ruin the view of the water, so we were planning on just having the easement would come in, and then there's attached garages, so there's enough space up there that, maybe one day they'd want to build a detached garage or something if they could get it permitted, but we would probably have the easement it would just kind of loop in and go around, basically like a turnaround, if that makes sense, so people can come in.
It all shows on here.
Okay.
I know.
I didn't see that.
I saw that, but the question of, so even though they have road frontage access the right amount, these parcels will be accessed from the back from those 2 driveways for all 5 parcels that you're proposing. So did the fire chief signed off on this, so we have the radius turnaround for the preliminary plat also? The fire truck turnaround?
I guess there isn't really a turnaround, it's like a U shape, I guess.
He said that there was enough frontage in the front of all the lots for him to pull multiple fire trucks if needed. So
They don't need to go in, they could reach them right from the road.
yep, that's exactly what,
Well, I'm
You
just
can't
asking
say.
the question to make sure.
because PC and I did have a discussion, he said that there's enough in the front for him to pull fire trucks if needed, so it's okay.
Otherwise, they can pull around back in one side and out the other. Okay? Because otherwise, we've had to allow for turnarounds too with a minimum radius of, 75. So, okay. So that answers that question. So there's not really gonna be driveways off of Highway Z is what you're saying, except for those two.
There's technically two of them, I guess, to be right there. Because those are already, that's with being Z there. I'm assuming when Kevin, I don't know if it was the county that did it, when they built that up, if they put those in there, I'm not sure if maybe Kevin got those approved, I have no idea. I just know there's two in there, and it just made, like I said, originally we were trying to do 6, because I believe we could have did 6 lots and we would have met was it 100-foot frontage or something like that, but then we reduced it down to 5, so we had more space, just more, just more easier to get around and move around, and everybody would have enough space to do what they had to do, and, we don't want to we don't want to obstruct the view either, so these houses are, I know I say that they're kind of built backwards, but the design we're working on, the front of the house is kind of what's facing the water, the back of the house is kind of the backside, is how we're trying to design. We're designing a very modern style house, so like one pitched roofs and stuff is kind of the design feature we're trying to go with. So a lot of big windows, just visibility, I guess.
I know the one was they need the sanitary approval from Adams County. That was one that was brought up. I don't know if anybody had anything else.
Well, we're gonna need, there's gonna have to be an easement agreement somewhere established for these people to drive between different lots. Wetland area, he shows, just to make sure that stormwater management, wetland area, that those permits come out of Adams County. And some type of an easement documentation that covers, because theoretically you're going to be driving over other people's.
Well, that's
You just dealt with it at the last project, so. Those are the big ones I had. Wetland area and then stormwater management, easement, erosion control is pretty standard in construction. They're going to make them put up silt fencing.
Do we want to maybe add something that just says that all, I know, I think you put in here chapter 14, that all subdivision requirements and procedures of 326 are met? That would include the easement, that would include the water, or in case we miss any that we're not spelling out, or you think you're going to catch them when you do the final?
That wouldn't be a bad thing to put in there, just that all, even though it is, I guess it is already in the finding facts document, though, isn't it?
You have in there two. Just say sub B, sub 2. But you don't have sub A.
So if you want it, I would say, to be safe, you could add just the entirety of it, otherwise, I could always edit the document to say all of it, it's up to you, what option you want.
I think I think it might be helpful just in case, since this is, I don't know which one you maybe used for an example, but maybe just helpful to just say use all of 326-14 of a site plan and then preliminary plat. So that would be sub A. And
So just all 32614, then get rid of B2.
Yeah, well, and then you put A, which is your site plan. You have all your subpoints in there. And then you have B, which is your preliminary plat review. Which would include all the sub and underneath B. So if you have A and B in there, because C starts the final plat review. Then you're covered. It gives you a chance to go back to it. Just, I know there's one in there that says something about the, it's not a big to-do, but on the map, you know, 1 should equal something, not 50, I'm not sure, but I couldn't find it. Anybody have anything else?
No, I think that covered when you do it that way.
Anybody else? No?
Well, that covers everything, so make it. I make a motion to approve the subdivision, with the discussed revisions, or not revisions, but conditions.
So do you mean a recommendation to the town board for the preliminary? Okay, thank you.
Recommendation of town board to approve the subdivision, for the Roche, what do you call it?
Lakeside Heaven.
Lakeside Heaven,
Haven, yeah.
with the conditions as discussed.
I'll second that.
We have a motion by Commissioner Wiesinger, second by Commissioner Gabriel to approve a recommendation to the town board for the preliminary plat of Lakeside Haven as described, located on an 11.66 parcel acre owned by Roosh Land Development LLC. And with the findings of fact as discussed and described. Any more discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Good luck to you. Success.
Have fun. Thank you. Have a good night.
You too. All right, discussion and possible referral to a future agenda, comprehensive plan review, development of the outline for completion, and public participation plans. Lexi?
The Plan Commission had a cursory review of the Town of Rome comprehensive plan during the February 11th meeting. During this meeting, they had created a loose outline for updates. This meeting is set up to develop more of a full outline for completion and public participation plan. Zoning administrator had reached out to Rebecca Roberts from UWSP for the Plan Commission's recommendation. A copy of her response is in your packet. Staff had also reached out to several other planning companies. At this point, there's only one response for pricing, which is also included in your packet.
Did you want to describe the email as well? We got an email from Lexi with a list of the previous work done.
Yes. So the request I got from everyone last time, which I think got confused, was just to get the agendas and minutes from the previous subcommittee work, which is why you guys got a Word document that had all the agendas, minutes, and just the packets that I plucked out from everything else. So that's just what the previous work that was completed, I guess, by the subcommittee. I know during because I went back through and rewatched the video, but during the meeting, it was suggested that you guys do individual reviews of those documents, and then from there potentially bring forward ideas. At least I believe that was the idea behind it.
Well, we were also supposed to go through the comp plan and actually look at sections we thought would be easy enough to tackle. Jerry, you weren't with us, but
We did
I think I missed that one too.
yeah, you were
I'm a
both
little bit-
absent. But we had talked about going through the current comp plan, finding the sections, because there was quite lengthy discussion actually about how they're getting more and more expensive to do, and this was supposed to have been done a couple of years ago, and it wasn't followed through on by
Well,
your
it's
section.
done. We have spent a lot of time doing it, but it
But
never
not
got
all the
out.
sections, not all the sections. You did some, which is why we asked her to resurrect those, why we asked her to resurrect to see what was done and what you had agreed to bring forward for approval, but the entire comp plan was not completed. You did, well, we went back and looked, Jerry.
Yeah.
We went back and looked. And it was never sent forward. It was never followed through on by your previous administrator. So I didn't want to say it out loud, but I will. So now it needs to be completed because now it's required in 2026. So we had talked about those coming forward. She got the list, but we need to know what actually you decided on, what maps were approved, what maps were changed. We don't know, or the people coming up next don't know. And what we talked about also is the fact that North Central Regional Planning has a boilerplate comp plan. Now, we've been through, Lexi and I were at the last WTA conference together, and Rebecca has worked with other towns. She doesn't do the actual work, but basically plagiarize. We have a boilerplate plan. Why pay somebody all that money? Use the plan we have. Look at what other towns have created, which is out on the UWSP site. Lexi can refer to it. You bring the ideas forward, and we create a new one based on that and whatever other previous work that had been done that was approved. Now, there were some zoning changes made from those meetings that your joint committee had, but not all of it was complete. Not all of it was complete. The maps were never done. They were never sent up, and I called Dennis Lawrence at North Central Regional Planning. Nothing was approved with him. Nothing was given to him. Nothing was signed with him, and no money was spent to do it that we are aware of. And if you can find differently, please show us.
You know, we as a commission worked several meetings to go through all that. I had all kinds of notes on all different chapters, and yeah, I don't know what happened to it after that. Somebody didn't follow through.
So the bottom line is what we had said about that is that now going forward, if we can look at some of the basic chapters again, because it's very boilerplate, and you get what you pay for. And Lexi found out you can spend up to $40,000 if you want, but you also have UW-Madison that'll do it for you maybe for about 5 or 6. Maybe we could reach out to UW-Madison. They were another one that Nick and I went to 2 years ago. They do some pretty good comp plans. I don't know, maybe their prices have gone up now. But you can take our boilerplate one, look at some of the simpler sections, pound them out, but you're going to have to dig through whatever it was that you folks approved in the past and had hoped to move forward. I don't know. Some of those zoning changes, like I said, have already been made. Some of them weren't, and the maps were never approved. The last that Dennis Lawrence at North Central Regional Planning heard from this town was in May of 2023.
So what do you need done from this committee?
So what we're thinking that rather than having another subcommittee, because it's hard enough to find committee members as it is, now that we have all of the short-term rentals off of our plate, we have time.
Lexi.
It's only,
I said thank you, Lexi.
Well, thank you a lot of people. It took 2 years of badgering a lot of people to get it to that point, but there's time that this board could tackle, or this commission could tackle a few sections of that comp plan and then go through the public participation plans that Rebecca shared and the samples that she gave to Lexi. So there are resources she can use to keep the costs down. Now, what we also have discussed at previous meetings is that the work that's being done at the RTC is going to also help with some of that, and those two pieces of the puzzle fit together. So that's something Lexi's going to have to keep a handle on and keep moving it forward. But again, if you go back and look at the comp plan for April, look at the sections you think that we can easily knock off and do, and bring back a list, how you'd like to tackle it. I don't know, Bill, you were there for that discussion. I know Diana's gone, but is there anything you want to add?
I mean, the first 2 chapters are just, you pull it out of the census and demographic data. So there's nothing that's a staff thing. It's nothing we have to get involved in.
And quite frankly, there's new reports at the state level that can help us with that, and Lexi can gather that up and gather for the core.
The meat of the comprehensive plan is the housing section, the transportation section, the utility and community facilities, the economic development, and the land use. Those are the chapters that this group should be concentrating on, and also building a public participation plan for to get more public involvement with the input that goes into that plan. And that's what I gathered by reading what Lexi had sent out, that building a good participation plan is the key to having a good comprehensive plan that will get implemented, because then everybody's had their kick at the cat, so to speak. and
If they
everybody's
haven't
on
kicked
board
that
when it gets
cat,
adopted. And
I
then,
don't wanna hear
and if
from
it
you
gets,
ever again.
well, I'm assuming that if you get enough participation, that then everybody's had their say. And whoever does take over can implement and continue implementing it based on the fact that there was enough public participation that said this is the way the town wants to go. So I think that's the key element, is the public participation, right? When are we gonna involve them, how are we gonna involve them, and which chapters? Because I don't think they have to be involved necessarily in all of them, but they can always
I think they
review,
should
they
be
can
involved in
always
some of
review
that.
everything. Anybody can always review everything, because these are all public meetings, all the minutes are published, anything that we get,
It's all
they can come and
transparent.
get. So, it's all open. Right?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I can think of that could be even more is just if there are certain meetings where we want to have public hearing items on our comp plan changes, that would just be more public participation. We just want to,
You might wanna do a focus group on economic development with current businesses, I mean,
Which we're kind of doing already with the RTC
on a smaller scale.
on a smaller scale.
Yeah.
So you involve more people,
That's,
but,
that's all I came away with for this week.
yeah.
But if these two plans, the Rome Town Center and the comprehensive plan, are supposed to merge in the end, should we wait for the Rome Town Center plan? Just because we don't want, if they're supposed to merge seamlessly in the end, we can't be making changes on one side that's not happening on the other side of the, I don't know.
I think the answer to that is they're gonna merge, they'll merge.
They'll merge.
Okay.
It won't be an issue.
I don't think it would help to hold one up for the sake of the other.
Okay.
Well, that's just my,
No,
I know,
I-
I appreciate your
I
point of
think
view,
because of the
but
time involved to get through this, you need to start.
we need to start somewhere. We really do. And the fact that the corp is now done is gonna be was adopted. You know, that's got demographics. That'll speed that piece up easily. You know, go right to the demographics of that. It's getting into some of the other pieces, you know, you can at least start hovering on the information and see what might be tied to the RTC. But I think the maps are also very important. The mapping is very important.
Were there any maps in those references? Cause I started clicking and I didn't,
in the later ones, they had map 9, which is
Okay, that's
future
9
land
is,
use,
yeah.
yep. I believe it's just the last 3 or so meetings, that's where they were really looking, that's where they started looking at maps.
And that was the last map, they have a map at North Central Regional Planning, and they never did anything with it, and that was the last they heard from the town was May of 2023, was that
I think
map.
about the time we consolidated and came up with the final map.
Right, but any other changes to that comp plan, no, there was, no, but, something you said though too,
There were a lot of recommended changes as we went through each chapter,
did
a
you,
lot of them.
you were going through zoning code though too, were you not just the comp plan, you were
Well,
going
they
through
took us
zoning?
off, she took us off task and gave us other stuff to.
I think, yeah, that's
That's
what
where
I
we got
recall,
into-
because that's where you got into tents and
Penalties
structure.
and,
Yeah,
tents
tents.
and everything else.
But not to go off track there, but one thing that you should keep in mind, and you might want to get in touch with Dustin down at the county, is that they've got rid of their conservancy district for their zoning. And the county board approved that last month. And so I don't know how that impacts what we have that coincides with conservancy, but that might be something that we need to start taking a look at. And they thought it was going to simplify it and make it easier because it was redundant. And they made some other, but they didn't clarify in the posting what exactly the other items were that they were changing. But they now no longer have conservancy. And I know we have areas around town that was based on Adams County Conservancy. So, yeah.
A big chunk.
Just so I remember, is this the comprehensive outdoor recreational
No,
plan?
no,
This
no,
is
no.
some,
This is our comprehensive land use plan.
This is the 10-year plan. It's,
Do you have a copy of that, Tom? No, Tom.
no, I never,
it's online.
it's on, is it on the townofrome.gov site?
I might have an extra copy that you can
Okay,
have
so
mine.
let me just see the title of that once. Okay, so that's what I was asking. It's not that,
It's the comprehensive 10-year plan. 10-year
Okay, not the, this is just a room 10-year plan, not the outdoor. Okay.
I'm just saying, I confused you probably with the demographics. I'm saying we could extrapolate the demographics so we don't have to like kill ourselves trying to find
I'm saying
demographics.
there's useful information that they just went through in the court that could be drawn out and
I
connected.
just wanted to make sure I was thinking of the same plan. There's so many
I think
plans.
I've got an extra copy. I can put it in your box, Tom.
That would be great. I know there's the comprehensive outdoor plan, the park and recreational thing. I just wanted to make sure I was on the same page. I was not on the same page.
I think given the fact that there were only 4 of us present last time, and we have others, we should just bring this back.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, absolutely. And that was the other reason why small scale solar, not large scale, because utility size scale solar is not in our wheelhouse and we can't do anything about it. But the small scale solar that we had a presentation on was very good. So I don't know if you had duplicate documents that you could share with them, Lexi, but it was very good and we shouldn't lose sight of that. So we should bring that up at our next meeting as well in April, because that'll be part of that plan. Yep, exactly. But go out and look at the full report because there's a lot of good information in there. Yes. Yes, it is. But with that being said, just so you know, those divisions too, back to what's in our comp plan, are actually what is laid out in state statute as to what we're required to have in a comp plan. So that's why when I say it's boilerplate, why pay $40,000? What was it? $40,000? When we can find some good examples out there that have been done by the university. So, any other comments or questions on that one? All right, now I just gotta find my agenda so I'll just use Diana's.
I think solar is the next thing.
Alrighty. So, that, we've got our next agenda meeting items. I'm sure anything else will come up.
I know that there's going to be a site plan, but it's for it's a new site plan for an existing business. So that one's going to be interesting.
What existing?
The boat storage right on Alpine here. They want to add to their business. They want to add a secondary business, but they don't have an initial site plan because that storage place has been around for forever. So
it's been around for a couple of years. Not that. You're
it's
talking
been a
about
long
the big boat. Are we talking the white building?
The one that's on Alpine Drive, the one has I think it's a blue tin roof. Let me see if I can find the actual address for you.
Blue tin roof.
Alpine.
Defining it by a blue tin roof helps no one.
Sorry.
Way down the road here.
Yeah, it's on the road here. Yeah.
Oh, you're talking
Way down the
that
road.
way.
Way down the road here to the west.
MSH concrete down that way. Yeah, got it. That's
I remember there's one in there. Yeah.
Oh,
There's a
okay.
bunch of, yeah.
Between the gravel place and
Got it. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
whatever that is.
It's got usually a cornfield behind it when they're growing corn. That
What
was
is that change of season? Am I not thinking?
That's what I thought. That's what I'm picturing.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Oh, you're thinking
Is that
change
it?
of season?
Change your season.
That's right. They have a blue roof.
Is that
That's
it?
why I did it.
I'm looking. No, it's yeah, change of season. Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Because they bought the building next to them several years ago.
Yeah, where the
That was-
exercise place was.
Yes.
Yep.
All
Yes,
right.
and that was an office of someone else, but they want to turn it into something, a new business, which they don't want me to disclose quite
That's
yet.
fine.
So,
Respect that.
but
All right, so we have that as the next agenda
yeah.
item.
So that one's, I will just give you a warning though, the site plan's going to be a little bit strange because half those buildings have been on that parcel for forever, and then now they're adding a new one, so they're basically doing a plan of operation change more so than anything, with a few minor changes to the site.
Modifications.
Yeah, like I think they want to like add some fencing and do like add almost like a lean-to structure to one of the. You'll see it when you see it. That's not the best description. But
We'll go with that. We'll see it when we see it. Okay. So is that it done, or?
and the small-scale solar and comprehensive plan, yeah. All right.
I believe that the town board's still sending back the accessory structure and commercial A to come back to the plan commission for discussing on size restrictions.
I thought that was a no.
No, that we both voted yes when we did the minutes again. I'm supposed to come back to the plan commission.
Alrighty.
Okay, that can be put on the agenda too.
There you go. And the next meeting date and time is April 8th at 4 p.m.
Alright. Can I adjourn the meeting at 5:20?
Oh, adjourn the meeting at 5:20 p.m. Thank you, everyone. Oh,
Larger map, fold it out.
oh, that's Lexi's. And then give...